Howdy, partner, and welcome to this very special, unique, bonus mini episode of TomHanksgiving. I am your host, Elvis Kunesh, and today we're talking about Tom Hanks and Saturday Night Live. It's just me this time. We're doing no co-host because it was short notice, and I didn't plan to do an episode for Hanks' most recent appearance on Saturday Night Live, but I just watched the whole episode now on a Sunday. I was busy Saturday night at the Magic Castle. Just a little humble brag there. That's just a brag. There's no humble to that. I was at the Magic Castle. It was awesome, but unfortunately I missed live Hanks, which is maybe the greatest Hanks sin there is. So we're going to talk a little bit about the show. Just do a little breakdown. This will be like a quick thing. And you're still going to get your proper Angels and Demons episode on Tuesday this week. So don't worry. This is just a little bonus. And plus it gets us to the 51 closer, so I might be able to take a second week off later. Yeah, that's not important. That's not important. We are focusing here on Tom Hanks and his 9th stint as host on Saturday Night Live. And also, I'm kind of incorporating all of his Saturday Night Live on this. I didn't go back and rewatch all of them. I probably haven't honestly seen all of them, to be perfectly frank, but we're just going to hit the highlights and talk about, like, he's first time hosting December 14th, 1985. He has hosted since then 8 more times, up to the main part of today's show, October 22nd, 2016. That was Saturday, if you're listening to this when it comes out. If not, then this is... That's the thing with Saturday Night Live. It's so... of the moment, and that's great. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. That's not a detriment to it's part of its existence. But because of that, it feels less. I don't even know how to I could get the Best of Hanks on Saturday Night Live DVD. I'm sure that's out, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. Maybe if we're really stretching for episodes. Towards the end. But I feel like this will be enough because, I'm looking at, I checked out some of his highlights. I love, obviously, the 5 Timers Club sketch where Steve Martin cameos and Paul Simon. It's brilliant, but it's not like Hanks comes in and he's known for these big characters. He's really more like they find stuff for him, and you can see that in this episode. And this was a great episode. As someone who doesn't really watch Saturday Night Live, when I was a kid, I grew up watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. That was my late night show I had to stay up for. I did watch Saturday Night Live every now and again, and it was great. But it's never been my super big bag of show, and I don't want to contribute to the conversation of, it used to be good, no, it sucks, or whatever. I feel like it's always been just as good as it always is. If you're watching it in the moment, in the immediate, some of the sketches are really funny. Most of them are okay, and then some are just like, I'm going to bed now. And that's part of the nature of the show. That's whatever. I'm not a big fan of SNL, but if you are, good for you. I think it's cool that they, I don't want it to go away. As an institution, I have great respect for it. I feel like I've covered my bases enough. Let's talk about this episode. And we started off, of course, with, we're getting a lot of election stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ. Getting a call in the middle of the show. It's John Brickley. I can't talk to him right now. So the show begins with the 3rd presidential debate sketch. They've had Kate McKinnon play Hillary Clinton and Alec Baldwin play Donald Trump for these. And I've checked. These are the one things I've checked out every time they've come out. And this was not my favorite of the sketches, but obviously it had a big bonus for having, being the last one, and of course Tom Hanks being in it. But it was funny. The political stuff always plays really well on SNL, and I think McKinnon's insane portrayal of the righteous, ambitious Hillary Clinton is hilarious, and I love the pitch-perfect performance from Alec Baldwin. I think this 3rd round, though, they had less... I didn't notice the slight whiteness of skin around his eyeballs, so it felt like this version of Donald Trump got an even coat of spray tan on his face. But no, it was a strong opening. You already got to see a taste of Hank, so it wasn't like they were holding him for the rest of the show. We started out strong. And then, what a great monologue. I mean, you guys saw that. He addressed the issue. We've been talking about it on the show since pretty much the beginning, that he's America's dad. And wasn't it great to see Dad come out and have this great father figure like say it's gonna be okay. And fuck, he's embracing all the great stuff, the diversity, the getting gayer. It's wonderful. It was a great pep talk, and I love that Hanks leans into it. Although it's interesting, if you caught, he does mention that the magazine cited him as America's dad, but not the sexiest man ever, and that's been a point of conversation that has come up here and again on the show, where it's like Tom Hanks is not known for being like a sex pot celebrity, and I think that he's embracing it with the America's dad. Obviously, he's much older now, but it's interesting. He knows it, and we ended up seeing him in bed in one of the sketches with a lady. That was kind of funny. But really, we're here to talk about two sketches, and one of them is Black Jeopardy with Tom Hanks, and that was phenomenal. Probably the most laughs I got out of it. Just his portrayal of this very down-to-earth, theoretically, you'd expect him to be a racist dude with the Trump hat, but no, he found the common ground with the African-American contestants on Black Jeopardy. It was a very hilarious. That was definitely the most incisive piece of social commentary throughout. It was definitely much more so than the presidential debate at the top, I think. And that was great. And had some great punchlines, specifically like the bit about skinny women when he came in with that, and not a damn thing. And of course, the ending punchline, "Lives that matter." Well, it was great while you lasted, Doug. Fantastic. I'm pretty much just reciting the thing now, so I hope this is going good for you. But really, we're coming down to one amazing performance, and that is him as... actually, I want to save David as Pumpkins. That's what we're going to get to. But I want to say that for a minute and jump ahead, because he appears as Sully. And we get kind of like in canon universe. Not really, but a follow-up to Sully, which, as you know, if you listen to our episode on that, I was not a big... We here at TomHanksgiving, we're not very big on Sully. It was not a pleaser for the podcast. But it's huge. It's still huge in America. I'm happy for Tom Hanks. I don't really give a shit for Clint Eastwood. He seems like, whatever. This is the Clint Eastwood podcast. Scott Palmer can do that if he really wants to. I thought it was a really stupid movie. But this sketch was perfect in that it, pointed out how kind of stupid it was that Sully was... I guess it wasn't that he was so full of himself, but great reaction. Damn, getting to see him go toe-to-toe with Alec Baldwin. That's not something... that's a great combo you don't really get to see. We never had a movie with that happen. So, well done. Unless I'm completely mistaken and I've missed something. Correct me if that's wrong. So that was great. And he got to play Ron Howard. By that point, I was like, all right, I'm ready to... I didn't really like the sketch. But the fact that Tom Hanks played Ron Howard and played him so wacky and ridiculous speaks to their relationship and how comfortable they are. And it was just funny to see him kind of rag on Ron Howard. This is a show that really is beneficial from dialogue, I'm realizing. But I don't care. You're going to get an episode out of this. I'm recording it. It's off the cuff. It's a mini episode. You're getting another one this week. If you hate it, just skip to the end. But really, we're here to talk about David S. Pumpkins. Because what the fuck was that? That was insane. If you haven't seen it, you should just... If you've seen nothing else from the Saturday Night Live, check that out. So the premise being, this couple's on a haunted elevator. They're going through 100 floors. And Tom Hanks shows up in this ridiculous pumpkin suit that I've seen for years. This is just a suit that people... It's always the lame costume that you see on Halloween shops online, and I guess they've probably seen one or two people wear it in person. But it's this perfect little weird, unique thing where it's the corporation behind the ride that this couple's on in the sketch didn't have the money, so they put all their money behind this David S. Pumpkins character, and I don't even know if I can really explain it. I'm just rambling, but you gotta see it. It's great to see Tom Hanks lean into the absolute absurd, because that's the thing, and here's where I'm gonna say something this is where the episode's gonna come together and be an actual part, a piece of this puzzle. of the podcast conversation, is that you rarely, especially in this day, you rarely get to see Tom Hanks play to his absolute wackiness and to his absurdity because of the fact that he is usually the lead in a movie, so he's going to be anchoring the film, and that requires kind of a responsibility to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more grounded. You can't play totally absurd, because if you're the backbone of the movie, the emotional heart of the movie, then it's you can't be the spice in the same time. It would break and bend the reality too much, and then your audience is going to get alienated. But it totally works when you're just doing like a 5-minute sketch. You can be absolutely absurd. So it was great and delightful to get to see Tom Hanks do something so weird, and I think that David Pumpkins was such a weird thing that he is going to become a Halloween icon. I've already actually looked for a last-minute order for the costume online, and if I want to get the actual suit, there's only one size left, and that is I think it's gonna be a little too small for me. So I'm fucking pissed because I wanted to be David Pumpkins after watching this, but I guess everybody beat me to the punch, unless this thing was really popular 48 hours ago, which would be surprising, or maybe they just don't make any of them. But that would be anybody who does a David S. Pumpkins costume. Send in a pic, tweet us a pic at tomhankspod, and I don't know, I'll send you like $1 or something. I'll give you something, some sort of prize. If you do that, mad props, mad credit, on fleek, as Tom Hanks said, as the kids say from the opening monologue. God, this has been a long rambling, and there's this weird person who's just been, because I'm recording this in the car for some reason, who's just been like kind of hovering here. I think he thinks I'm gonna move, but my lights are off. I don't know what he's doing. And there's plenty of parking ahead of me, so I don't know what he's waiting for. I also don't know what I'm waiting for, because this is our Saturday Night Live episode. It's technically covering all of Saturday Night Live, even though we're not going to touch on every single one. Yeah, but I think it's great to see Tom Hanks do this sort of thing. I would love to see him become more, I would love to see him run for the record. Obviously, that's still held by, now it's held by Alec Baldwin, who's hosted 16 times. Obviously, he appeared in this episode, so he's been on. He's cameoed even more than that. And then it was previously Steve Martin, who was 15. But we've got 9 from Hanks, and I think we'll definitely get to 10 before the end. Oh, God. I don't even want to think about the end. But it'd be great to see him. Oh, finally, this person drives away. Like, yeah, get a clue. There's also plenty of room. Oh, he's an Uber? I guess he was waiting. Maybe that makes more sense. I guess he probably got picked up then. Riveting podcast, obviously. This is great for your Monday morning commute. Basically, if you haven't seen the show, I would check out the presidential debate sketch, unless you're sick of politics, in which case stay away, but I think it's pretty funny. But if nothing else, check out the David Pumpkins sketch. You've probably already seen it, so watch it again. And the Sully thing, it was better than the movie. I'll give it that. That Sully sketch is better than the movie. I would have rather seen that than, God, that movie was so bad. Yeah, so is it the best Saturday Night Live Tom Hanks has ever hosted? Probably not, but you know what? It's the only one we're really talking about this week. So kind of breaking the rules here, but you know what? It's my show. If you have a really big problem, get in touch. Write us, tomhankspod@gmail.com, and tell us if you want us to do a single episode for every Saturday Night Live he's ever been on. And then let us know. We'll track it down. Otherwise, I think this is going to be it for Saturday Night Live. And this has been long enough, so I'm going to close it out. Thanks, Hanks, for listening. And we'll be back later this week with our Hanksoween Part 1 special, Angels and Demons.
Any questions?